online payments better, faster, and cheaper. We'd also like to thank today's sponsor, NQ Zebraworks. NQ Zebraworks has been helping law firms automate for 21 years. And now we're excited to be joined by Bill Bice and Ken Bassam with NQ Zebraworks. Bill, I'll go ahead and hand things over to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Joy. Uh, Love working with ALA. I've been in legal tech for a long time. I got started at 18 writing a time and billing system that became the practice management system Pro Law. Really love solving problems in the back office, and I've been fortunate to get to do that with Ken for many years.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. So yeah, that's exactly right. That's where I started as well on the pro law side. I was an 18, a few years past that. I'm always pleasantly surprised too when I don't have the same outfit on as I do in this picture. But been working with law firms for a long time, primarily at the pro law and elite space. So happy to be back with Bill and doing stuff that complements those billing systems and many others at this point.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to enhance them than it is to build them. To build them. So we're gonna talk about two ways that we enhance your existing billing system today, focusing on online payments, which is PayQ, and how we enhance billing workflows with BillingQ. So let's start with setting the stage. If you're having challenges with collections, with accounts receivable in your firm, you are not alone. So the collection cycle lengthened by 5% last year. AR went up by over 9%. That was on top of an increase of AR by over 10% in the prior year. So this is an increasing problem, and the way that most firms are tackling this problem is by adding more staff. So that's what's been happening, and it's what the plan is for the future. I would like to make the argument that throwing a little bit of automation into that process is a really great way to leverage the staff that you have and really make a dent in this challenge. And so if we talk about online payments, one of the great ways to do this is to more aggressively use online payments. And to do that, we really want to have a great online payment system. And so I want to talk about the advantages of PayQ and how we can make online payments better. I mean, it's sort of like wisdom that you can only get two out of three, better, faster, and cheaper. This, I want to say, is the very unique opportunity where you can actually have all three. So let's talk about in the big picture what those things are. So first of all, we want to make it much easier for your clients. So links take your clients directly to their portal, make it easy for them to pay, remembers their information so that all they have to do is pick what they want to pay and hit pay and they're done. And what we have found over and over again is that if you make it easier for clients to pay, they will pay faster. And we'll get into specific numbers, but the end result of that is a real increase in changing your collected realization rate. It's the real benefit from using online payments. Let's get to the next part, which is really the pushback for payments, which is cost. So step one is it's really important that we treat credit cards and ACH equally in terms of the presentation of the client. So those payment options are presented to them. They're not pushed to go into credit cards. Some firms, the way they've dealt with that is using, one payment platform for credit cards and another for ACH. That creates challenges in the accounting department. You really want to have one payments platform that gives equal treatment to both of these. And the end result of this approach is that we can save thousands of dollars per year by having low cost ACH and having very reasonable rates on credit cards. And so in our case, what we do is a flat rate, 2.95% on credit cards. It's really simple pricing. There's no other transaction pricing or anything else that is put on top of that. So it's very easy to understand, and the benefit to the firm is typically in the hundreds, often in the thousands of dollars in savings per year. That's the big picture. let's go in and actually look at some software, Ken, if you wouldn't mind taking over and doing the fun part of
Absolutely. I
showing
think
off what we do.
that's where I come in. 1 second, and we will get started here. And we could start either place, but I think we'll just begin here. One of the things you had mentioned, Bill, is if you make it easier on your clients, that's a good thing in order to pay. And in addition to doing some things that we'll look at as we're going here, one of the ways that we're making it easier on them is to not have to remember separate logins and passwords that they have to maintain and change all the time as well. And we'll explain why, or Bill will explain how this works. So if I come through and we're skipping one step and that I've received an email or I've gone to your website, I've decided I want to make an online payment, so I can click this. If it's going to be something that I do routinely, I'll enter my email address. If it is just a one-time payment and I don't want to enter anything or just want to do everything manually, I can of course do that as well. But as I type in my email, what's going to happen is I'm going to tell it that I'm not a robot, assuming that I can get these things. So you can turn on kind of different settings. I don't know if they wanted that part or not. Let's see, I'll get it right here in just a second. But after I've proved that I'm not a robot, what I'll say is to make a one-time payment, you can do that, or you can just go look at your email and we will take you to where you need to pay. So we're going to
Sharing
keep
is using magic links as the way to log your clients in, so they don't have to keep track of an additional login or password. Anytime they want to log in, they just put in their email address and we send them the magic link to log in.
Yeah, and I love that term magic link, right? Because what it's really doing is, and we have this question all the time, is it's allowing you to not have to maintain those separate logins. So if I were to come out here and you'll see in my inbox, I've just received the verification. It tells you, and you get to customize these messages that you've asked to make a payment here. So when I come out to and click the link in order to make the payment, it's just going to take me to a payment screen, but it does a couple of things that we feel are unique, right? So I've made payments here before, so it's automatically filling out my name, which sounds, most people know their name and it's not that burdensome to enter, but we can automate that so they don't have to. Same thing for their phone number. I can come through, and if I've used a matter ID in the past, we're going to remember that history. So if they don't remember what their matter ID is, they're not jumping back to the bill or anything of that nature. And I've chosen to require that. So any of these fields can be required as well. What's I think most important, however, is on the payment method side. So if I come through and say I want to make a payment, we've remembered this information for them. So, and we can talk about who's remembering it, right? But so this is the payment method that I've used in the past. It's what I've said as the primary. You give them full control, just like you would in any other industry, right? Or any other payment system to make something else your primary. Maybe if it's a EFT or an ACH that you want to change that to, or if you just wanted to get rid of a payment method altogether, you could do that as well. But the key is that I'm not coming in every time I want to make a payment and telling the system who I am, what matter I'm associated with, any other relevant information that we've set our form up to manage. But I'm also not breaking out my credit card, keying in all that information with the expiration date and the 3-digit code and things of that nature. So I can come through here. I've put in, please enter your case number. We've already got matter ID on here, so you might choose to describe something else, but I'll just say making payment. And then at that point, it's going to kind of tell me what's happening, and I hit process. So I wanted to explain the screen, but from an end user standpoint or from a client standpoint, they're kind of coming through, not entering any information after they've done it just one time, and have the ability to have that full experience of having been here before, and kind of how that works. Anything to add to that, Bill?
Well, what I love about that is you just pick the matter, enter the amount, hit pay, make it easy for your clients to pay, and they will pay faster.
Absolutely. And before we go, and there's a couple of different experiences. So this will automatically generate daily summary reports that you can see the files and all the payments that have been made that, depending on your billing system, can be imported across to that. The other thing directly in the same screen, and obviously customize this page to be whatever you'd like it to look like. But for one-time payments, retainers, trust, things like this, in the exact same place, you could come through and do that as well. So regardless of what, if it's AR or if it's a first-time payment, because it's a new matter, I can come through and key in that information as well. Now, when I come back to Outlook, I will get a receipt, right? So probably not from NQZW sales typically, but so it'll give them a nice summary. You get to customize what this messaging is and what they've received and so forth. So it's just a really complete experience from kind of start to finish, from clicking on the link, not having to log in, not having to tell it any information about myself after I've done that just the one time. And then from that point forward, have the ability to make those payments really easy. And I know we've
so we got a question about overpayments, and I think a great way to talk about that would be where you're going next, which is when we do a deeper integration with the billing system.
Right. So step one, right? You can do and attach PayQ just like we just looked at now. What you also have the ability to do is do a further integration with your billing system, and you get you get all the benefits of what we just looked at, but then even further benefit by tying it directly to the billing system itself. And when I say tying directly, we're just really syncing the data back and forth. And I've already sent one, kind of pre-sent one, but we'll go look at how this person got this. But so if I'm tying it to my billing system, I'm also going to get the exact same thing, whatever customized message I've built for that particular matter, or for a particular attorney, or for a particular client. So you can customize it very granularly. As I'm coming through here, it shows me what my outstanding balance is and things like this. And what it's doing is actually email assembly. So it's going and looking for those fields pretty much real time in your billing system and automating that email format. And so if I click on the link this time, it's going to take me to a payments page, but it's going to look a little bit different. So I still have all the same information down below. It knows who I am, right? So I've stored that information from previously. I can also come through, and this is what's really cool, is it shows me the actual bills that I need to pay. So we're of course going to assume that your clients want to pay the full balance, right? So every time we'll put that amount in, but if that doesn't turn out to be the case, they can come in and key some amount in. And what it's going to default to is just reverting to the oldest invoices first, right? And then continuing on until the money runs out. Now, alternatively, they could just come through and say, I've still got questions on everything in 21, but the 22 bills were, I should have paid those at this point. And so as I'm just clicking on those, it's going to do the math for me again. So back to that theme about being easier, right? Remember who they are, show them what they're actually paying on the exact same screen. And depending on what your preferences are or how you've set this up, these bills can actually be links so they could see the detail of what they're paying as well. So without having to go back and forth between screens or maybe even between applications, they can come out and see the exact detail of what they're paying. And then lastly, if you want to enable it, you can also make this a more fuller portal experience for your clients that shows them the history of payments that they've made in the past as well. So just like we would for any other payment that we're making typically, when you go in, you can see prior payments and you can see what you're getting ready to pay. And then we also, usually the website knows who you are and remembers those preferences.
And so the reason I wanted to get here is because when we do the deeper integration with the billing system, then we can prevent overpayments. It's actually an option whether you want to accept overpayments at that point. It's really nice not accepting them because you then eliminate that problem of what to do with overpayments. So the deeper link has a lot of advantages because now we know exactly what they're paying. We always do the math for the client. it means the payment that you're getting into your accounting department, you know exactly what you're applying it to. There's no more chasing down, well, I got this amount, it could be for this invoice, it could be for that invoice. We know exactly what it is. Depending on the billing system, often we can put the payments in automatically. So I love the client experience for this. I do think this is a client that we really need to work on because we've got bills from 21 that are outstanding, but it's just your demo system. It's okay.
Yeah,
We've
might
got
need to update the demo system.
yeah, we've got a couple other questions that really apply to this. So one is surcharging. And so you can turn on surcharging, where one of the benefits of using flat rate credit card pricing is it makes it really easy to understand what the surcharge is. When you have surcharge turned on, then we just add it as a very clear line item here at the bottom of this screen as a part of the confirmation before paying, which is, you know, just best practices when you're doing surcharging. You know, you want to pass on exactly what your cost is for the credit card processing. And when we're doing surcharging, only the net amount goes into your bank account. So the credit card fee portion is handled separately. The deposit to your bank account is for the amount that is the net to the firm. That also means that you can use surcharging on trust deposits, because all that's getting deposited into the trust account is the amount of what's going into the trust, so you don't have any of those complications. There's another great question about debit cards, because you can't do surcharging on debit cards, and so really the best solution to that, and it's the one that we take, is just to turn off accepting debit cards. Because if you do accept them, then you're paying the fees in some cases. If you're choosing to do surcharging, you really don't want to do that. So we just turn off the acceptance of debit cards. And so you're either doing ACH, which is extremely low cost, or on credit cards, you're passing on the cost to your client. I'm going to show you some numbers in a little bit, though, to make the argument of why you should consider not surcharging, because there are real benefits to getting as many of your clients to use online payments as possible.
Great, thanks, Bill. And you can stop me at any time. On that, I'm going to show one other screen, I think, as we go through. I put in the description again. This, you probably don't have to have invoice number in this instance, since we know the invoice number up top. And so many times I've talked to firms, they say, well, that would help with that email I send every other day that says, does anybody know what this payment for $6,000 is for? If we could tie it directly to the bill, directly to who the person is, it makes that process a lot easier. Once I go through and process the payment, it's going to generate again a customized message that you've set up for that particular matter, for how you want to speak to that individual or to that client. And for certain practice areas as well, you can choose on, hey, you know, if I just want to enable automatic payments for now, I'm comfortable with everything that's going on, I can select that, and then that makes it really easy on them. It also makes it really easy on the firm, because you don't have AR at that point. You just automatically run it at the time that's billed.
Yeah, this is
So
actually letting the client select that, but of course you can set that up for your clients. And so this is great to utilize in your engagement letter and say, yes, we're going to, our process is we charge your credit card, we charge you on this, you know, we deliver the bill on the first week of the month, and 10 days later we automatically charge it. Whatever your approach is, you can set up that timing for automatic billing. We keep track of whether the charge went through, try again if there were any problems. And so firms that are doing that today are, you know, tracking all of that manually, and it's a really great practice. It's just a lot of manual hassle, and we've put automation around it.
awesome. Cool. So I won't process another fake payment, but I do want to just see, like, so how are they getting this link? Because we didn't even talk about that at the first as well. So typically when you're delivering your bills, you're going to put that link or build that link directly within. If you're just using PayQ, if you're using PayQ with the deeper integration, then at that point we can actually automate the sending of those bills with the link embedded or built in. And there's another way to do it as well, and then I'll turn it back over to you, Bill. But when you're doing the deeper link to the billing system, PayQ actually has some additional payment information directly within in a view like this. And so it allows me to come through and not only take a payment if I'm speaking to somebody, but I could also just generate that AR notice for a matter of particular client. And when I do that, what's going to happen is it pulls open the correct format for that matter, for that attorney, however that you've set it up. It shows you kind of what we looked at earlier because it's identical, but it brings in the messaging, pulls the fields from the billing system to look at what that should be updated to. And it automatically knows who it's from, who it's going to go to. If the attorneys like to be CC'd on this, then you can set that up as well, or blind copy, whatever that you would like. And then once I click send, it's going to generate that invoice payment link and it'll be in their inbox. So that's how they know, or that's how we know which bills they're going to be paying, right? And then as well, they get to know which bills they're going to be paying also.
What I love about those AR notices is that what we do is go grab each individual invoice out of the billing system that has AR, and we combine it into one PDF as the attachment or as a link. And we keep track of all that activity for you, so you can see here one that was sent out previously. And so it's just a perfect way to answer the the standard response of, well, I don't have a copy of that, and we're just going to send them every time a copy of every invoice that has outstanding AR on it.
Excellent. I will stop sharing at this point, turn that back over to you.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the numbers behind this. So the number one thing is using online payments. There is a pretty significant advantage to not surcharging. So it's certainly better to use online payments and surcharge than not. But let's walk through the numbers that we consistently see with firms that choose to aggressively use online payments. And so I'm just picking round numbers to work with here. So let's say over a year time period, you had $10 million that was paid to the firm via online payments. Now, it's certainly client and practice area dependent on what the percentage is of ACH versus credit card. What we see across our client base as a whole is about 28% goes through ACH. So that leaves us with 72% that are via credit card. You take the credit card fees for that. The key is the increase in collected realization rate that we see. And there's another sort of hidden benefit that is a monetary gain from online payments, which is that the AR turnover, so the average amount of time of a month's worth of AR that's outstanding, and the average for law firms as a whole is 3.5 months. What we see for the portion of clients that you move to online payments is that moves down to 2.5 months. So taking a full 30 days of days outstanding off of AR for that portion of your client base is significant. So not only do you get the benefit of moving that cash forward, but by collecting it sooner, what happens is write-offs go down, collective realization rate goes up. And so we see over and over again improvements in collective realization rate of 2 to 4%, chose the middle rate here of 3%. So when implemented as part of this larger collections process, it is very realistic to get online payments to pay for themselves by increasing that collected realization rate. So it's worth considering when you are surcharging for credit cards. It's definitely better to do online payments than not, if surcharging is how you get the partnership to buy into doing so. But actually tracking the numbers and seeing the benefit that you get from doing this, it's pretty impressive the change that you can cause to occur in your accounts receivable by just implementing the techniques that we recommend around online payments. Anything you want to add to that, Ken?
I was just going to say, it's all about efficiency, and it looks like we've improved our efficiency at 25 minutes. Talk about the integration with ProLaw, for example. Well, as you might imagine, we've got a really good handle on ProLaw. So because we know the database intimately, so the integration to ProLaw automatically kind of comes with that deeper link. So the screens that we were looking at previously that allow you to send the bills with the payments themselves. There's even additional reporting that can be set on top of that when you're working with ProLaw. So it's a direct integration, automatically updates journals with those payments, should you want to turn that on, additionally providing you a detailed summary of what we're doing. But it works similarly with most all billing systems. ProLaw just happened to be the one that we started with, since that's what Bill and I were most familiar with. But yeah, basically the entire experience, I would say 99% of our ProLaw firms use the fuller experience versus just PayQ, because it's so easy. And I do want to just say real quickly, when I talk about easy, it's about 14 hours of firm time from start to finish on the entire implementation. Sync the entire billing database in a couple of hours, 2 to 3 normally. So this is a 2-week process to start to finish before you can start realizing whether Bill and I are full of it, or if it's a great experience that you should certainly enhance. But happy to happy to go into any more detail at a later point as well. Looks like we've got the portal hosted on an NQ server with our firm's branding. Do you want to tackle that, Bill?
Yeah, so the everything that your client sees has firm branding on it. So that's only our logo is only on the stuff that you would log into internally in the firm. We're, it's all the firm branding for what your clients see.
Awesome. Billing Q and PayQ, of course, are completely SaaS, so born in the cloud. There is a component that integrates with your billing system, obviously, if you're on premise, that we would put on your side, but it is a complete cloud application. So thanks for that.
Yeah, so PayQ, the payments piece, that's takes an hour to set up, works with absolutely anything. The deeper experience with Billing Queue, we now support 6 different billing systems, and we're adding more all the time. So we would love to hear what you would like to have support for if we don't already have it covered. But unlike many of the projects you've done in enhancing your billing system that can be challenging projects, this is a pretty lightweight and easy, where you get benefit right out of the gate, and you start collecting money faster, and you start saving time for your staff, because there's workflows that we can just put into place that take manual steps out of the last step of delivering bills and AR notices just right off the bat.
I think we're getting ready to wrap. I'm happy to take that question offline. The implementation cost on PayQ is simply $30 per month for that merchant account. And then the actual implementation can vary on the ProLaw Billing Queue side. I'm happy to, I think my email's right there. So feel free to reach out, and I can answer that in a few minutes.
We appreciate everybody's questions and interaction. Always makes this more fun to present.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for your time. And thank you, Bill.
Thanks so much, Bill and Ken. Can you just go real quick over what would the next steps for anybody be to reach out to you directly? Is that what we should have them do?
I think you'd be better off reaching out to me, maybe. But no, I can get you to the right place. But either Bill or myself, we're pretty on it. So happy to get you to the right place or answer any questions that we can directly.
You'll always find me accessible. I love working with our firms, and I often talk about the great ideas that we get for how to build our product. They come directly from working with our clients.
Great. Thank you both so much for a great demo. We appreciate your time today. And thank you to NQ Zebraworks for sponsoring today's webinar.